Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a video that is part of a series here on my channel that is called Getting Use Out of My Collection, and it's also going to be a review of the Huda Beauty Electric Obsessions palette. So for the past couple of weeks I have been using this palette a lot, and I have been using each shade at least 3 times before I got on camera and did this, or for this review. But I don't know if you can tell from like the dips in some of the shadows, but I've been using this, like some of the shades in here, a lot more than 3 times. So today I am going to give you my opinion on this palette and some swatches, and also I wanted to mention that the look I'm wearing right now, I have filmed that, and this is part of a 2 looks 1 palette using this palette, and I think that should be up already, so I will have that listed in the cards up here. Okay, so let's just get into my thoughts on this palette. As I said, it's from Huda Beauty and it's called Electric Obsession, and it's a really tiny palette, but I love the size of this, and I also love that the shadows are very like close together. I believe these contain... Okay, so the entire palette contains 10 grams, so they are each like a bit more than 1 gram. And in US this retails for $27, and I bought it off of beauty.co.uk. So, and there on their website it's £25, but they have also brought it to Sweden since I bought it, and on Swedish Sephora it's 315 crowns. So I really love this little palette. I actually use this a ton for when I am going out, or like in my everyday life, not in my everyday life, but you know, in my everyday party life. I reach for this palette a lot because I have some shades in here that are my absolute favorite. Like, I love the shades of these. So when I was working with this one in the beginning, I had some trouble finding the right techniques for some of the different shadows in here, and I felt like I had to do many different steps or many different things for all of the shades in here. And because of that, I thought that it might not be a palette for someone that's not like as, I don't know, that does not think it's as fun as I do to like find different techniques and try and like tweak the shadows in different ways like I do. But after using it for a while, I feel like, I don't know, they are not as high maintenance as I thought they were in the beginning. They just have like not different personalities, but they are just different. Like, all of the shades have like different, they perform differently. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but yeah, I really like this palette, and I would totally recommend it, even though like for everyone, just because I feel like it's a really good palette. And let's just get into the shades, because when I review a palette, I like to look at each shade for what they are and like tell you how I like to use them. But I'm going to insert swatches so that you can see each shade that I'm talking about while I'm talking about it. So I'm just going to start with this shade right here, and they don't have a name, so I'm just going to like have an arrow pointing at the shade while I'm talking about it. But this is a pink shade, which has a very like a cool toe pink, so it's almost a purple pink, and it's what I'm wearing like in my inner part of my crease and sort of blended out with the teal on my outer corner. And I love this shade. Like, it's one of my favorite eyeshadows ever. Like, the pigmentation is really good. What I found was that it works best when you use a tacky concealer as a base. So I usually use the Anastasia Beverly Hills concealer in 0.5, and I use this all over my lid, and then I don't set it, and when I use this one, it's perfect. I love working with it that way. And then we have this purple shade, and at the beginning I was sort of disappointed with this shade, but just because it's not like metallic, it's just shimmery, and it's sort of like a soft shimmer. I am wearing it on the inner part of my eyelid today, and I think that once I accepted that it's not a metallic, and then when I stopped like trying to use Fix Plus or like foil it or heavy like primers underneath, I feel like it works a lot better, and I'm more like, I like it more. So what I like to do with this is just like today I have the tacky concealer, and then like, even though it's sort of, I already had some like shadow on my lid, I just took a flat shader brush and I just sort of sweeped it. So not trying to like pack it on, I just sort of, I don't know, just like a light layer all over where I wanted it basically. And then we have this sort of orangey coral shade, which is like the quality of both these two are like, I don't know, okay. The quality of this one is amazing, and like the color is stunning. I will have, as I said in the beginning, I will have a look of where I'm using this, but I will probably do more looks with this just because it didn't like show as much in that look as I wanted it to, or like it's not the perfect look to show off this color, but it's a really pretty color and I love the shade. It's sort of, it's not an orange, it's like a corally orange, so it's very unique and I love the quality of that shade. And then we are moving on to this blue, which is also one of my favorite shades. Like the pink, the coral, the blue, the turquoise are definitely my favorite shades in this palette. But I really like this one, and this one is a lot more metallic than the purple one. So yeah, I really enjoyed that shade. One of the like slight duds in this palette is the yellow, and when you use this you need to use like a tacky base. For the other ones I can use, especially this coral, I can use like my Makeupbyalexy paint pot and set it all over with a shadow that is close to my skin tone. Or like a translucent powder or something, and then go in with this one and it's just as pigmented. With this one I feel like it works best if you have a tacky concealer underneath, but it works with like the other method that I use as well. But with this one I feel like you need to have a tacky concealer and you need to sort of pack it on, because it's not as impactful as it looks in the pan. So really want something like tacky for it to stick onto. And then this shade right here, which is a like hot pink, is like the pigmentation of this hot pink is amazing. It's so pigmented, and if I was more drawn to hot pinks I think this would be my favorite, but because I'm very drawn to these. Okay, so my memory card rudely interrupted me just because it was full, so but I was talking about this shade right here, which is the hot pink, and what I was saying was that if like the pigmentation on this shade is amazing, so if I liked hot pinks more, that would probably be my favorite shade in the entire palette. But just because I'm really drawn to this like purpley pink, this is by far my favorite in this palette. But this is a really nice shade and I love the pigmentation of that one. This teal is also a nice shade. Like, I have nothing negative to say about it, but nothing like uber positive either. If you want it all over the lid, I would suggest like a tacky base, as I've said before, and then you sort of pack it on with a like shader brush, like a flat brush, and then when you have like blended it out a bit in the crease, I would go in with my finger and just sort of dip into the shadow and then pack that on as well, and then you will get like a very even matte like look from this one. And then the turquoise is like highly metallic, really pretty. I've used this several times, especially as I have in the look that I linked up here before. But I have it on like the inner part of my eyelid and I love it for that. It's like such a stunning, gorgeous, like highly metallic shade, so I really love that one. And then we have the red. The red is also sort of a dud, like the yellow and the red are sort of the duds of this palette. It's not as pigmented as I would like it to be. It still performs well if you use, as I said before, like the right base and everything underneath it. But it's not as, I don't know, it's not as pigmented as I would like. And if I use it sort of like in the outer corner, I get more of like a pinkish, sort of a pretty like light red, while in the pan it looks almost like a darkish red. And yeah, I don't know, I don't get the same like contrast when I use this shade as I would like to, but otherwise like it's still a nice shade and it's easy to blend out, and like yeah, still a good palette. Okay, so those were all of the shades in this palette, and I think that I've come, like my opinion of it has come across that I really enjoy this palette and I will definitely continue to use it. And I'm like, considering all the dips in this palette, I don't think it will take that long before I hit pan in especially this pink, since I love it so much, and maybe the turquoise just because I love that one a lot too. But yeah, I think that if you are in the market for a really nice, small, very pigmented, colorful eyeshadow palette, I think you will really enjoy this one. So now let's get into the palette that I will be working on for the next couple of weeks. This is taken a lot longer than it should have taken, just because I was done with this palette like in early April, I think, or like in the middle of April, but I have not had the time to film, unfortunately. But yeah, let's just move on to another palette. So this time I have already decided which palette I want to use, or I want to focus on, and this is the Tarte Make Believe in Yourself palette. So it has really pretty packaging, and this is sort of new in, like, not new, but sort of new in my collection. I got this in January, and this is what it looks like, and it smells amazing. I have used it like a tiny bit. I haven't even used all the shades. I have used a few of them, but I think this will be a nice palette just because it has some sort of muted colors, just because I am sort of at the new workplace and I want to like wear more neutral looks in the beginning, and then maybe I can, I don't know, experiment a bit more in the morning, but also because before I usually like I used to be in school at like 9 or 10, and now I'm there almost before 8, so like there's a difference in how much time I spend on my makeup in the morning right now. But hopefully I will be able to like wake up earlier and like give more time to my makeup when I get used to waking up early. But yeah, so I want to focus on this palette, and I will be back in a few weeks to give you my thoughts on it. So yeah, that was everything for this video today. Give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed this series here on my channel, and let me know if you have this palette, if you liked it, if you have seen any awesome looks with it that you think I should do, or even if you just look at it and you're like, oh, she should do a look with that and that and that. Let me know down in the comments, and maybe I can do that. That will be fun. So yeah, I said give this a thumbs up, yeah. So subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one.